All right, welcome to our new moon celebration. I'm Valerie Lewis. This is Robin Poole. Robin, wave at the camera. There we go. That's Robin Poole, and this is a Tarot Unicorns and Coffee event. And today we come together to celebrate the new moon. The way these events run, if you're new to our events, is when we started these events last year. It was earlier this year. I think. I was very new to the moon. I just love the moon and I wanted to celebrate it. Now that I've been doing it for a while, I'm calling myself intermediate, but I still give the very toned down version of the new moon, what energies it has, and also Capricorn, what energies it has. Robin has so graciously lent her expertise and her experience. She is an astrologer, and she gives the more in-depth, deeper dive information on what's going on in our skies as it relates to this new moon and other heavenly bodies that might be in play at this time. So with that, we kind of go back and forth. So I'll present on the new moon and the energies, and then Robin will present, and then generally, y'all, I'm switching it up for the new year. I'm keeping y'all on y'all's toes. Generally, it comes back to me and I'll do rituals that are more of a intermediate beginner level, and then it'll go to Robin and she'll do rituals. I am combining mine. So when I present, I'm going to present as we go along. You'll see there's going to be different aspects that I'm going to ask you to write down. They're going to go right into the ritual and what we're going to do with the ritual wise. So I think that's giving everyone the overview. With that being said, let's get into it. Again, I told you I'm switching it up this time. I want to mention a couple of things going into this. I do not have slides today. There is a printout that was posted in the note section. It was also posted in the event itself, and I just put it in the chat if you would like to print that off and take notes. If not, I suggest you have paper and pencil handy if you would like to participate and keep notes for the ritual portion. Last time when y'all came to the full moon celebration, I told y'all that I was working on a moon journal / planner that I would have available for this event, and I do. And I'll tell you a little bit about that later. Remember, I said that everybody that comes to the event gets the 50% off. So if you're interested in that, make sure you stay throughout the entire presentation today. I will let you know how to get that journal and also how to use the coupon code. And with that, let's get into it. So what I want to talk about in my presentation, I'm going to change it and do more like a storytelling session over the moon energies and Capricorn, because this is new moon in Capricorn. Just to point out, it's not tonight, it happens on the 2nd. New moon in Capricorn happens on the 2nd. But I wanted to talk just a little bit about the new moon as the new moon and its energies, and then Capricorn separately as its energy. And for those, I'm going to go to my brand new Oracle deck. And these energies that I was just like, I'm just going to go to the description. So the first one is moon. Look at that card. Isn't it absolutely beautiful? And it has all the phases of the moon. And I'm going to read you a little bit about moon energies. The moon speaks of the deep inner river of emotions. Whatever motivates you, how you experience and express your feelings, and how you nurture and need nurturance. In your astrological chart, the moon is as important as the sun, even though it's much smaller. The moon cycles through the zodiac in 27.5 days, or approximately every 28 days, changing signs approximately every 2 days. And as it changes signs and shifts into different zodiac signs and exemplifies is not the word, magnifies the energies of each zodiac sign, you will notice that the energies present in your world, if you're attuned to the moon, might also shift and change. So we only come together in these events and talk about the new moon and the full moon, but just so you know, all of those energies throughout all 12 zodiac signs are present each month. And it would affect our moods, our habits, and our behaviors. So again, the moon is about perception, how we perceive the world around us, including how we emote in our emotions. And then new moon is generally about setting intentions. So we use this new moon period when the new moon is dark. I like to think of the dark moon as the clean chalkboard where we get to we've erased all of last month and it's a clean slate and we get to write our intentions for the new month. So that's what we use this new moon energy for, to set intentions for the month ahead. And I'm going to stop for a moment. I want to make these events more interactive. So at the beginning, but I hope you are ready to participate and volunteer and answer questions and all of those great things. Let me share my screen. Let me find the screen I want to share first. One moment. I've got visual aids for y'all. Let me get them opened up. And share. Sorry, that's taking so long. One moment. Okay, so this is an image of a new moon, and I'm doing that in air quotes. You can't actually, because it's when it's entirely dark. But when we take pictures of the new moon, it's usually pictured as just a sliver still present, just so that we can see that there's something there. So as you look at this image, which I just think is beautiful, I would like volunteers to tell me how you would describe that, or possibly what feelings that brings up for you. How would you describe the new moon if you had to give maybe just 1 or 2 words or a sentence? And this is what I'm asking you to also write down for the ritual portion. So let me go back to my screen. You all can see that picture, right? Awesome. Okay. Robin, you can see that audience while I have screen share. So I'm going to ask you to call on volunteers. Could you please raise your hand visibly, or use the reactions button at the bottom, or type it into chat if you would like to share an adjective that comes to mind when you look at this beautiful image of a new moon. I see Misha. Misha, go ahead and unmute.
Well, I put it in the chat also. What immediately came to my mind was infinite possibilities.
Ooh, good one.
So that's what the new moon is all about. And with this being in the new year, you know, a lot of people are doing burning bowl ceremonies. I know there's one with AZ tonight, or there's one tonight. So getting rid of all of that new and stepping into the new moon, new year, infinite possibilities.
I love it.
It's endless. So that's what I have to say.
Thank you, Misha. Mine is beautiful beginnings. Just love this picture. Anyone else? All right, I'm gonna show you one more picture of our beautiful new moon and see if this evokes any other emotions or anything else that you would like to jot down. Can y'all see that?
Yeah.
Image? Perfect. Okay.
On the last image, Joyce Amen put the flourishing of the internal.
Ooh.
Michael Moreno put dream cradle. And I said expansive like an inhale.
Ooh, it's expansive like an inhale. I love that. I love that. Awesome, awesome. Okay. Any other comments or any other things coming to mind with the second image? And if not, that's okay. I think I see something.
Gail says seeing stars better in a dark sky. And Joyce says the union with the feminine.
Oh, I can see that because of the lady on top of the mountain. I love that. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. Well, that's just going to give you a couple of images to kind of focus on, maybe brings up some emotions for you. We love dealing with our emotions during these moon phases. Isn't it just wonderful how it brings our emotions to the surface? Okay, so that's the moon and her energies. Now let's talk more specifically about, because we know this new moon is about setting intentions, but mostly it's the new moon in Capricorn. And so we want to know, what energies does Capricorn bring to the table for us to work with as we set our intentions? And let me tell y'all, could not be in a better sign for setting intentions for the new year. Capricorn energy is about, excuse me, their phrase is I achieve. But again, I'm going to go to the book and read from the book because it just describes Capricorn so well. And then I have some more information on Capricorn too. So that's the card for Capricorn. And what it says, Capricorn asks us to dive deep into the sea of collective consciousness to find a worthy dream and then work on it and walk it to the mountain. Capricorn, the cardinal earth sign. Cardinals are the beginners, the starters. So this sign is the first earth sign in the zodiac. I think I got that right. And it's ruled by Saturn. It's a symbol of, its symbol is a mer goat, half sea. The equipment we use to and achieve our goals. Some other information. Mountain goats climb easily up and down, but aren't as comfortable on flat terrain. Capricorn energy can leave you depressed when you feel flat and see no progress. So it's asking you to make short-term plans that will take you to medium-term goals and help you climb the mountain over time, and to make sure that you celebrate each step. Capricorn energy encourages you to practice skills and develop spiritual disciplines. Learn to control yourself, not others. Learn to control yourself, not others. I think I needed to emphasize that. Lead rather than dictate. So that Capricorn energy is very much a leader, but we need to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves and not trying to control it. Very much a controlling energy, I should say. We should make sure that we're controlling ourselves and our emotions and not trying to control the world around us. Look for guidance from elders or experts and grow your personal authority. Develop confidence through your portfolio. Observe and savor not what you think you can or can't do, but what you've actually done. So this is a time to reflect on the accomplishments that you have done. We all have them. We often forget them because we're humans. Sometimes it's just the way we're built. We're always looking at what we haven't done instead of looking at what we have done. This Capricorn energy is an excellent time to take stock of our accomplishment, to kind of give yourself a pat on the back, remind yourself that you got this, you can do this, as you set out to set New Year's resolutions or just set new moon intentions. So now I want to show you something about now I want to tell you the story about Capricorns. Capricorn is a constellation. You know, all the constellations have stories. There was a story I found that just fit so beautifully with Capricorn and the energy. And I was just like, I'm gonna tell that story. And then when I got to the end of the story and I did a little bit more research, the internet, the World Wide Web told me that this was not the true story of Capricorn, but that people often mistake it for the story of Capricorn. So Capricorn is just, which you man, goat. I'm going to tell you the real quick version. Half man, half goat. Several different descriptions as why he did this, but one was that he did this to escape the Titans, put himself in the water instead of being transformed completely into a mermaid, because he was only half submerged. Only the bottom of himself got transformed into a merman, and the top of himself stayed as a goat. So that's how you get the half goat, half mermaid fable from that. Oh, that story's all right. That story's all right. But I'm gonna tell you the other story. The other story is the one I like. So this one associates Capricorn, the zodiac sign, with, I'm gonna say the name wrong, but I'm saying it anyway. Amalthea. Do you know that name, Robin? Robin's looking at me like she hasn't heard this one. Anyway, it's it's story. I believe it's a Greek story. So I'm going to read the story. This is from video, and I'm just going to read it as it. February 19th, which is why it's in Capricorn right now. So the story is when Rhea gave birth to Zeus. Wait, let me go back. Cronus. Cronus was the god, ruler of the gods at the time, who was given a story that foretold that one of his sons was going to overthrow him. So Cronus decided to just eat all of his kids. Now, I have an issue with that. I got a lot of issues. Why didn't he just decide to stop fucking? You know, but no, he's going to keep having babies and then decide to eat the babies. Why? But anyway, Cronus fears that he's going to lose this throne to his son, as predicted by a fortune teller. So as a result, whenever his wife Rhea gave birth, Cronus would eat the babies. When Rhea gave birth to Zeus, she secreted her child away from her husband and entrusted him to the cave of the goat, Almathea. I might be saying her name wrong. Almathea would nurse and look after the child in a cave on Mount Ida. Raising a child is a very important task, and the goat managed to do it alone. For this reason, those born under the sign of Capricorn are characterized by an ambition to gain influential positions, because Almathea was helping a god, gain influential positions without fear of loneliness and with responsibilities. So this ties into the features and the energies of Capricorn. That's why I like this story better than the other one. Almathea raised Zeus in a cold, dark cave, signifying that those born under Capricorn know how to survive under difficult conditions. Another very key energy or influence of Capricorns. They know how to survive under difficult conditions. They know how to withstand hardship. They allow little room for frivolity. Y'all know the word. As indicated in the prophecy, Zeus overthrows Cronus when he becomes an adult and frees his devoured brothers and sisters. Father Zeus became the king of gods. Now, later on, by monsters called the Titans, Zeus and his family required a powerful means to defend themselves. Almathea, who possessed indestructible flesh, agreed to be sacrificed for the good of his protege, for the good of her protege, Zeus. So Zeus skins the animal and uses its flesh to build the invincible Aegis, a shield that made him invulnerable. The tie-in to Capricorn energy is, similarly, those born under the sign of Capricorn are said to be rigid in nature and create the kind of emotional armor to shield themselves from pain. As a show of gratitude to Almathea, Zeus placed his surrogate parent in the sky, creating the constellation of Capricorn. That's the story I like a lot better because it really ties into the Capricorn energies. Later, he also took one of the horns, one of Almathea's horns, filled it with flowers and fruit, creating the symbology of the cornucopia, which is a symbol of abundance and prosperity. Capricorns are also said to set aside their personal interests for the greater good and will make sacrifices for future abundance. So that's the story that I like regarding Capricorn and its energies. So some of the key points are that Capricorns know how to just thrive in adverse conditions. They're willing to sacrifice themselves for the greater good. They're very set on their goals. They're not going to are going to reach the top of the mountain no matter what. With that being said, I would like to give you a video of exactly that. One moment while I find that. And I share this with you. Oh, Robin said her mom and sister are both Capricorn suns, and I have my moon in Capricorn too. So if you have your moon, I know, right? If you have your moon in Capricorn, this might be, and especially or magnify all. Depends on how you handle it. Depends on you.
Can I ask
Let's
Valerie?
go.
I lost you there for a moment, and I'm not sure if it's just my internet connection. Is anybody else did lose?
Valerie's been freezing up a lot for me.
Yeah. Can you?
Yeah, she's been freezing up, and there you go. You're frozen again. Nope, now you're back. Yes, and we're not hearing a good portion of what you're saying because it's, yeah. Sorry.
I felt like I heard most of it, but I definitely lost the part just a second ago about what the Capricorn moon, what this meant if you had a Capricorn moon.
Oh, I've got to figure out a better way to connect for these events. This is personal experience. Robin, feel free to correct me when you get into your portion. But for me, because I have a Capricorn moon, going into a new moon in Capricorn, it could be, if you are a Capricorn moon, it could be very comfortable just because you're used to these energies. You've dealt with these energies your whole life, so it could be very comfortable. Or it could magnify these energies and make things just a little bit uncomfortable because now you're getting a double dose of that moon in Capricorn energy. I think it kind of depends on your personality as to how you feel that and how those energies affect you. Okay, I'm going to try to share a screen and hope that this doesn't crash. What I'm going to do is stop my video and then share my screen, and maybe that will.
On my end, the prior screen shares worked just fine.
The screen shares worked? Okay.
They seemed like, yeah, I saw both of, for me anyway, I saw both of those photos.
Okay.
Yeah, it worked for me too.
Okay, great. This one's going to be a video, so I think I'm still going to stop my video to let this one run. This is about mountain goats. You came to a moon event and you get to watch mountain goats. I know, but stay with me, y'all. It makes sense. Can everybody see? Let me. Well.
Yeah, I can definitely see.
Okay.
I'm excited about the incredible Ibex.
It's pretty cool. It's only 3 minutes, y'all.
The rock that broke this down contains essential minerals that have been dissolved in water. Minerals rich in the calcium that these animals need to stay strong. And they'll scale a dam to get them.
Situazione estrema, diciamo così, di rapidità, la possibilità di caricare del sale è una tentazione fortissima.
These salts and minerals, their bones won't grow, their nervous systems and muscles can't function. Movement and coordination can falter.
Io ho abbastanza paura quando sono in situazioni molto ripide e guardo verso il basso, non sono di certo uno stambecco.
There's a strong bond between mother and kid. And the kid will follow her wherever she goes. The Ibex eventually make it to the prize. Salt from the earth, dissolved in water, continues on its journey into their bodies. Where it's used in the nerves and muscles that control dexterous pincer-like moves. Vital ingredients carried around by a simple molecule with remarkable properties.
All right. I love that video, and I love anytime I can see video of those mountains, of those goats scaling almost a vertical wall. I'm just amazed. So what I wanted you all to be able to take away from that is the attributes of goats as a whole in the positive. So I'm going to share some things, and feel free to raise your hand or share something in chat. But what I gathered from that was that those goats were going after their goal, and nothing was going to stop them, not even a vertical wall, but that they were the divine knew that this is what challenges they were going to face and what they were going to be skilled at. They were divinely skilled. They were divinely created and made in such a unique fashion that those split hooves could hang on to the rocks and do what they needed to do. Did you see the little baby goat was almost inverted at one point, trying to shuffle around? They never fell off, and they never turned back until they reached what they set out for. So that's kind of what I'm picking up. Divinely skilled, ready to reach their goal. They don't give up. They're insurmountable odds, adverse conditions. And as we go about incorporating this Capricorn energy, when we look at the things in our life, the goals we want to set, some of the things that we're saying for ourselves, do we give up too soon? Do we tell ourselves we aren't skilled? Do we see that like the little baby goat following the mother goat? We always have helpers. We always have guides showing us the way, showing us where to put our next step. Where to put our foot next for the next step. But sometimes we're blinded to that, and we just stop. That baby goat never stopped. It kept its eyes on its mom. It knew where to put the next foot. So if we can adopt or pull in some of those energies as we go about setting our New Year's goals, or even just setting our intentions for this phase of the moon, I think that will benefit us greatly if we start thinking about how can I pull in some of that Capricorn energy. I want this year for everyone to be a year where we don't just make the goals and then whine about the goals and then give up on the goals, but where we use this Capricorn energy going into this new year. We make the goals, we stay focused on the goals, and no matter what comes our way, we find a way to reach those goals. Because I'm telling you, if these goals are divinely meant to happen, they will happen. You are divinely gifted. Source is going to show you where to put your foot next if you're paying attention. And you're not going to fall off that wall. You're going to be able to pull that Capricorn energy in and stay the path and reach your goals. So hopefully that gave you a different kind of way. I know, different than what I'm used to, a different kind of way to look at the new moon as far as setting intentions, a different kind of way to look at this energy. And that is all I have for you for new moon and Capricorn energy. I'm going to turn it over to Robin.
Thank you. That was super cool. I love animal videos of all types, just in general. And I wanted to share I have a fun fact about mountain goats because I happen to love them for this exact quality, just in how incredibly brave and courageous and undaunted by challenge they are. So it turns out that their little hooves are not like we think of, like horses' hooves. You know, they're not hard. They're kind of spongy, actually. And it's almost like they've been divinely designed to basically be climbing walls with the equivalent of like modern climbing shoes, which are super flexible, rubber-soled climbing shoes that allow the climber's toes to like actually pinch through the shoes onto the crags in the rock. And I loved what you said about how we are all divinely designed to achieve our goals. And as an astrologer, just doing readings for clients, whether it's like a relationship reading or a future reading or a birthday reading or just a natal chart, people are so often like, I'll mention something and they're like, oh my gosh, that's my biggest problem. That happened to me 2 days ago. He's like, that's my biggest problem. I'm like, no, dude, that's like your biggest strength. That's like a huge gift. And we were talking about, you know, like understanding the past and learning lessons. And he's like, I'm just enmeshed in the past. I'm like, no, you're a past genius. You're amazing at this. So anyway, that's, I think, a really good question to ask yourself for these goals that you want to set for this year is, what about me? What are my strengths? Not the way Valerie does it, not the way Robin does it, not the way Misha does it. What are my strengths in achieving my goals in the past? What has worked for me? And how can I harness that? And I love what Joyce said in the chat, ambitious and slow, steady progress. Because sometimes we think that ambitious means we have to go fast. And sometimes we feel like, oh, well, I'm making steady progress, but it's really slow. And then we get discouraged. But, you know, those goats weren't interested in climbing up 500 feet in 30 seconds. That's a sure way to fall. And so I think that's true. They really, anyway, sorry, stop analyzing the goat video. I just thought it was super cool. All right, does anybody have any questions or anything else they want to contribute before we dive into the astrology a little bit more? Yes, Misha, I see you raising your hand.
I'm a slow typer, so I wasn't going to put it in the chat. So one of my business coaches says all the time, all you have to do is be better than yesterday. You know, doesn't matter what. Maybe you folded laundry today and you didn't yesterday. All you have to do is be better than yesterday. You know, for moving forward. So, you know, and in comparisons you make them of you now versus you 5 years ago. Make those comparisons because that's going to bring positive to you. So that's what I got about that.
Thank you, Misha. That reminds me of something. So Martin Luther King Jr. was a Capricorn, and one of his famous quotes, which I'm going to butcher, is you don't have to see the whole stairway, you just have to take the first step. That's a very Capricorn-like energy. So yes, thank you, Misha. That helped me remember that.
Okay, perfect. All right, well, I'm going to share my screen. And as always, Valerie can keep her eye on, oh, Kimberly says she has the same birthday as Martin Luther King Jr. That's so cool.
Super cool, January 15th.
Excellent. My sister's birthday is right around that time. Okay. All right, I'm going to share the screen, and then Valerie, you can keep an eye on the chat. Feel free to raise your hand or put something in the chat if anybody has a question as we are going along. Oh, I love baby goats. So adorable. Okay, where's my thingy? There it is. And can everybody hear me okay? Or let me know if you can't. Okay. So new moon. Tropically, the new moon is in Capricorn. Tropical astrology is what most Western astrology is, and it basically associates the signs with the seasons. And that's the way they were aligned in the sky when astrology, Western astrology, was written down about 2,000 years ago. But due to a wobble in the Earth's orbit, the sky actually moves backwards by 1 degree every 72 years. And now 2,000 years later, the constellations are not aligned with the season. They're not at the same place in the sky anymore. So if you looked up into the actual sky and you could really see the moon, it would be around against the background of the constellation Sagittarius. So tropically, with Western astrology, this is a Capricorn moon aligning with the seasons. And then it aligns with the actual stars in Sagittarius. Most astrologers use only tropical readings or only only tropical readings or only sidereal readings. Vedic astrology is sidereal astrology. I'm unusual in using both, and I think it's fine to just use one or the other, but I find that very often the tropical association tells us what's going on in our inner world, and the sidereal constellation is an indication of what kind of results we might expect to experience in the outer world. So if you have any questions about that as we go along, you can feel free to ask me. And I titled this, Building Your Expanded Future. So that's the combination of the Capricorn tropical energies and the sidereal Sagittarius energies, building your expanded future. So I had this instinct that I needed to figure out what this background photo was that I chose for this. I chose this because Capricorn, one of the colors for Capricorn is kind of a brownish yellow color, and this had brown in it. It's a Hubble photo. And then I asked my mother, who's a famous astronomer, what this was of, and she didn't really know, but it turns out it is a light echo of a star, the central star, called V838, and it's in the constellation Monocerotis, which is the unicorn. And I got so excited because I know Valerie loves unicorns, and of course our meetup here is tarot, unicorns, and coffee. So this is an echo of a big expansion of the central star. And once it expanded, it was huge, by the way. It was the brightest star in the Milky Way for a short period of time while it was expanded. And it was something, I think it's like 2,500 times the brightness of our sun. And then at this stage in this photo, the star itself has collapsed back in, so it's not so bright and big. But the light that it sent out illuminated this cloud of gas behind us. And I thought this was a great sort of symbol for what we're doing here at this time of year, where we put out our light. And then the question is, what is this illuminating in our surroundings that we want to change or build on or use to grow? Capricorn is great at coming up with the resources in its surroundings, just like those goats who were like, hey, they built a dam and it's full of salt and minerals. We can take use of that. We can use those resources. So part of the theme of my presentation here is illuminating your surroundings and looking at the resources for you to take advantage of in achieving those goals for next year. So the first thing you can ask is where Capricorn is in your chart. The house that it's in may have some effect on exactly where you sense these energies. I have Capricorn in my 11th house, so it has to do with groups. And then I do also have my moon in Capricorn, so it's definitely affecting my relationship with groups. And I'm full of ideas for goals at this time of year, so I think I'm definitely feeling those Capricorn energies. Tropically, it's at 12 degrees Capricorn. That's this little spot here. And then the difference between the tropical astrology and the actual stars is about 24 degrees. So if you subtract 24, the moon is actually going to be right around 18 degrees Sagittarius. So if we blow this up a little bit, we can see that we can dig down a little bit more deeply, because this 12 degrees of Capricorn is in the second decan of Capricorn. Decans are when you divide the sign up into 3 parts, and each of them is ruled by a different planet. So it's in the decan of Venus here, and it is in the term of Jupiter. And this is very nice news for us because Jupiter and Venus are the 2 most positive planets in the zodiac. So there's a lot of like abundance and joy coming up through this particular moon, which is amazing. Then if we look at the sidereal portion on the right here, we can see it is in the decan of Mars. And then we are in the term of Mercury here. So this is going to affect what sort of results we tend to come up with, or what happens to us as a result of what we're doing in our inner world. So if we think about what this means for us, oh, I forgot I had written this down. Okay, so there's our tropical 12 degrees Capricorn with Jupiter and Venus, and our sidereal at 18 degrees Sagittarius with Mercury and Mars. So from an interpretation standpoint, in our inner world, I titled this Enjoy Abundance, Building Your Own World. Jupiter's all about abundance, exploration, finding new resources, discovering the gifts of your environment. And Venus is about relationships, art, joy, having a good time, connecting with people that you feel enriched by. So this can be a great time of goal setting, of figuring out what you want for your future, and then use that Capricorn energy to come up with some actual concrete plans for how you're going to make it happen. So how do you envision things being different in your world? What would you love to experience? That's the Venus love. What would you love to experience for your future? And what can you build for maximum joy and growth? Not just practicality. Practicality is great, and Capricorn is super practical, but Venus is not all about practicality. Jupiter's like the grandpa who wants to feed you ice cream, even if mom and dad say it's not a good idea. Like, this is a time to really expand out and think about what your big picture vision is for joy and growth. And then if we look at what's likely to happen, Mercury is a planet about communication, and Mars is a planet of struggle. So Once you've got this great vision and you've come up with your plans and you're like, oh my gosh, this would be amazing. I would love to experience, you know, a vacation to such and such, or more abundance in my regular life, or I would love to enjoy my own company more. You may have to fight for your truth in staking out this new territory. Mars is likely to bring the sort of challenges that are designed to strengthen you or test your commitment. It's a little bit like the spiritual gym. It's going to be hard and you're going to have to double down and say, no, I really want this. This is really important to me. So recognize opposition as strengthening of your boundaries. If people are pushing back against you, that's just a chance for you to double down on what it is that you really want. Prepare to present your supportive arguments. Because we have Mercury, communication and mental activities are highlighted here. So you may have to explain to people why you're making this decision, or help them understand how it is practical, or like explain what your goals are or your plan is to actually achieve them. And then I put reinforce your stockade of positive beliefs. There's the degree to which we build our own bubble. A stockade is like a defensive fence. We build our own bubble of positivity, the things we want to believe about ourselves or our world. There's so much negativity about there that's like, you know, life sucks, or politics is terrible, or the planet is dying, or, you know, there's no shortage of negative messages. But if you want to enjoy your life on this planet, you got to figure out what your own positive beliefs are. And this is a great time for you to be like, no, this is what I believe about my life. Even though, you know, there's climate change and we're challenged by our environment, the planet isn't dying. Like, you know, humans have solved all kinds of problems before. This is something we can solve as well. Okay, maybe that thing didn't work out the way I wanted it to, but I'm not a failure. I get a chance to learn from this experience, and maybe it's just an opportunity for me to try to build something I'm going to like even better next time. Like, reinforce that bubble where you're thinking, okay, this is what I really believe in. This is what keeps me safe. This is what helps me feel like I want to make progress. Because Capricorn and Sagittarius energies are all about making progress, looking out there, seeing what it is that you want to build, identifying your options. And I think this can be a great, really positive time for us if we can do that. Does anybody have any questions or thoughts, or should I keep going?
I'm not seeing any questions.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to mention, by the way, that this Jupiter-Venus combination doesn't come around that often when it comes to these new and full moon events. So you can do whatever you want. My advice is to jump on the positivity bandwagon here, because I think we should enjoy positivity for all it's worth when we get it. Okay, so if we dive into the actual astrology, here's the chart of the new moon. We got a couple things going on. Partnerships are highly prioritized here because of this little asteroid that looks like a spike on a cross. This is the asteroid of Juno, which is about specifically romantic relationships, but also about partnerships in general. That's at 18 degrees and it's right next to the moon. So this is a great time to reach out to partners that you can work with both in the physical world, but also spirit guides or ancestors. And actually my ritual has to do a little bit with this. So find those people who are going to really support you in the goals that you are putting out, either to help you figure out what goals you want to do, to come up with a plan for it, or actually to implement the plan when you finally get there. We finally have a trine with Uranus. We've been dealing with the Uranus opposition for a couple of months now. But you can see we've got a nice blue line here down to Uranus. That's the one that looks like a double radar dish. It's in Taurus, which is a sign of comfort and security. And it's about 120 degrees away from our moon here. And that is a great sign that it is finally time to do something. For a while, Uranus has not been in a great position and it's been more about thinking and planning, but this is the time to actually make some serious changes. Anything that's been on your heart, like I would say do something in the next couple of weeks to actually at least take a step forward to implementing it, because this is great energy for actually creating change. We have a square this time with Aries with Chiron in Aries. Chiron is an asteroid that's all about like childhood wounds, learning through pain, gaining wisdom from healing ourselves. And it's in Aries right now, which means that it has to do with individuality. And because this is roughly 90 degrees from our moon here, you can see there's no line, but it's about 90 degrees from our moon. That means that this pain that we're experiencing is going to be a constructive obstacle. So you might feel some pain, like you make a goal and then part of you is like, that's never going to work, or that's too big of a goal, or somebody outside of you criticizes your goal or says you can't do it, or or you have old feelings from the past where somebody in the past said it and now it's coming back up again. And the tendency as humans is to be like, ouch, that hurts. And then you want to pull back. Don't do that. Don't pull back. Ask yourself, why am I feeling this pain and how do I want it to be different? How do I want to learn from this pain, to decide these messages aren't true, to look at my past quote unquote failure and learn a lesson and be like, okay, well, the reason that didn't work is I did it wrong in a certain way. And now I know I need to do this differently. I tried to do it alone before, but now I know I need a partner, or vice versa. Last time I listened too much to my partner, but now I need to trust myself more. So when that pain comes up, you want to think, how can I learn from this? And how can I use this as a chance for creative problem solving? Because the momentum is very much for change at this point. And so that pain is really just trying to help you to actually be more successful this time around so that you're not dragged down by the things that happened in the past. I want to mention, by the way, that the moon is not at her strongest in Capricorn. The moon rules Cancer, which is this blue sign at the bottom, which is a very nurturing sign. And you can see that Capricorn, just opposite that, this Capricorn moon is a very like practical moon. It's great for surviving hardship, but it's not the most like nurturing, touchy-feely, oh, honey, I'm sorry you're hurting, like kind of moon. And it's not the greatest for like healing emotions or being sensitive and tender. So don't be surprised if some difficult things come up. And this is a great time to do a little bit of extra self-care, because the moon in Capricorn is more about like making it happen and not so much about like, you know, babying our boo-boos. But I think we need our boo-boos babied sometimes. So take a bubble bath, cook yourself a delicious dinner, you know, walks outside, pet your cat, cuddle in your fuzzy blanket, and add a little bit of extra nurturing for yourself at this time, especially if you're thinking about big goals and you have some fears or emotions coming up. So ways to integrate, oops, that shouldn't say double Gemini. That was not changed from last time. Okay, it should say integrating the Sagittarius Capricorn new moon. So, okay, so find partners to help you build or organize or plan. That's the moon conjunction. Don't let pain block you from building to your desires. That's the Chiron and Aries square. Consider shocking or instant changes that would make a big difference. Like take an action, be bold. Now, I'm not telling you to do anything that, you know, would have huge long-term consequences that you're going to regret. So don't sell your house tomorrow and move to Antarctica, but like give some things a try and see what would make a big difference for you. Enjoy feeling good about what you build. Don't get so focused on the goal setting process or on acting that you forget to enjoy those positive emotions of like feeling good about yourself because you're doing something or envisioning this beautiful future you're planning. And then above all here, it is time to take some action. And this is, by the way, also a great time to do vision boards. I didn't do a vision board for my ritual because something else came up, but I am actually doing a vision board, which I plan to put on my refrigerator. So this is a really great time. The new moon, which I think is on the 2nd, is a great time to launch your vision board for the whole coming year. And then if you have any questions or thoughts, I'd love to hear them and see if this is resonating with you guys. And then at the bottom, I've got my email, my website, and then my Instagram. So yeah, what are people's thoughts? Is this something you're interested in, or does it seem scary? Have you been feeling these energies coming up?
Sophia's giving big waves.
Okay.
The energy.
I can chime in. I am definitely feeling the energy of just movement, of doing, of getting things done, of actually working on things and attacking things. And I've been decluttering, sort of just, okay, this isn't working right now. I'm going to put this aside and make room for this. And I've been actually doing the this instead of thinking about doing the this. So
Ooh, yay,
I feel
love
it for
hearing
sure.
that.
But it's funny, I was just looking at my birth chart. I have 0 Capricorn energy. Like not one of my planets has Capricorn energy in it. Like, whoa.
So I will just mention that even, first of all, it's great to hear that you're acting and not just thinking. This is totally the time. All the thinking of the last couple of months can now precipitate into acting. But you might have some Capricorn energy in your 12th part chart. If you want to contact me, I can help you run a 12th part chart, or you can see my video. There's the free resources tab has a the free resources tab on my website has a link to my YouTube channel where there's a video on running a 12-part chart. But even if you have any planets in Capricorn, you still have that energy because you have Saturn, which is the ruler of Capricorn, somewhere in your chart. Everybody has all 12 energies, even if they don't have any planets in their natal chart for that. So you may be more Capricorn-y than you think. I didn't think I was Scorpio-y until I looked at my 12th part chart, and then I have 3 planets in Scorpio, and I was like, oh, that's why I'm always going so deep on everything.
And it also looks like we have a comment or question from Michael. Michael, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry about that. I had my microphone unmuted there for a while. Yeah, I'm really digging this this whole setup right here as far as how the moon is in this Capricorn stage right here, and all the messages that I'm hearing. A lot of what I wind up doing is letting pain block me. So you know, Aries has something to teach me there. And the shocking and instant changes, I have a sheer dread of shocking changes. I'm more of the slow and steady change type person, but you know, that is something that I have been considering here lately, as I'm moving around and trying to understand certain aspects of my life. And one of the hardest things for me in here would be finding partners to help build, organize, and plan. I don't seem to have a whole lot of I want to say trust. Maybe I have trust issues, I guess. But it's that one right there. That is a big that's a big chunk of where I see some of my what I consider a weakness. And I like what you said about people seeing weaknesses and may actually be a strength. But I really want to try to step more out into reaching out. That's kind of why I joined this group right here, is because this was kind of one of my first steps towards reaching out to other people.
Wow. I feel really, first of all, I feel really honored that you chose to join us. And I think you can pat yourself on the back that was an instant change, right? The pressing the join button and showing up today is an instant change that I think it sounds like is making a difference. So I totally get where you're coming from with the trust issues. Reaching out to partners is really hard for me too. And actually, Valerie and I are going to be doing a class coming up on troubleshooting your natal chart. And I'll be doing mini readings there. And so if you're interested in a mini reading or a big reading, obviously we can look at those issues. There may be some things where actually this is a strength for you, but you just have to learn how to find the right partners. But if you have let pain block you, I wouldn't be surprised if you had trust issues, because pain often blocks us from connecting with people if we've experienced pain in connecting with people in the past. And we're gonna be taking a big look at partners. It's not just corporeal partners, not just like physical people. There's also a whole realm of spiritual partners out there that I'm going to talk about in the ritual component of things. And I personally have found that it was much easier to start reaching out to my divine partners first. And then they kind of coached me on how to reach out and work through my pain with actual physical people. So that might be a path. But I feel really honored and excited that you joined us. And thank you so much for taking time to share. That meant a lot to me. Super encouraging. I'm so excited for you. I think this is going to be great. I think this is going to be a wonderful time of life for you. Any other comments or thoughts?
I can tell that I put a comment there in chat. Hopefully everyone can see it. It's along the lines of what Michael and Robin were saying, as far as seeing those things that we look at as hindrances, as gifts. And a chart reading from Robin is amazing. Like, it really shifted things. Like Capricorn, for instance, is one of the things that was like the bane of my existence. Like, why? I hate planning. I don't want to plan. And when I was able to turn that around and see it from another aspect, because I'm a Sagittarius fire sign, sun sign. So But when how those two could actually work together and benefit me, amazing. It really shifted. So I highly recommend a Robin reading, a reading from Robin. If that's something that you're struggling for, or something that you want to dig into a little bit deeper, where your gifts lie.
Thank you, Valerie. I really appreciate your saying that. And I wanted to mention that actually that's one of my very favorite things to do in readings, because I spent so long feeling terrible about myself. And then I looked at my astrology chart and I was like, oh my gosh, it's not my fault. And then my guides helped me see how actually so many of the things that I'd been criticized for, or that I was criticizing myself for, were actually features and not bugs. And so I love to help everybody. I love to help people see actually this is a real strength for you. And here's why it hurts. And maybe here's a better way, more constructive way to work with it. But I really feel like there's so much of what we're doing here is really understanding how great we are, despite messages that we may have received by parents or authority figures who are trying to civilize us into fitting into modern society. So yeah, and I wanted to honor what Misha mentioned too, because that was brave, girl. Yeah, brave.
I've decided, like right now, I'm done. I'm gonna go put my wedding rings back on and I'll freaking be a widow for another couple more years. Yeah, I just can't right now.
No, Misha, no.
Yes.
The complete opposite direction.
He's gonna have to do something freaking spectacularly, I don't know what, to even be able to talk to me again. So yeah. Just
well,
oh yeah, mic drop, boom.
The only thing I have to say to Misha is to make sure you take time to honor your own anger and grief, but don't make any permanent decisions in the midst of anger and grief. Yeah, I've so been there. I've so been there, and I honor your expression of your strong emotions. Okay, are you doing something now, Valerie, or should I dive into the ritual program?
I'm trying to see. Can y'all hear me? No.
All right, we can see you, Valerie.
Okay.
Okay, all right. Looks like I'm back up again. So I've been visiting my sister in Portland, as I say, and my brother-in-law has an amazing collection of business books, which I don't normally read because I'm not like a super businessy person, but every time I come to visit them, I try to read as many as possible just to get some new ideas. And then I've been reading this book called Bold, which is basically written by the people who are trying to privatize space travel. And they started a company that is supposed to be mining asteroids. So it's all about like really bold thinking. And I just wanted to add the bold energy to our meetup today. Okay. So one of the things I thought, I was reading a book that was quoting Larry Page, and I wanted to see what you guys thought about this. It occurred to me that we have advanced ourselves, our world, in almost every technology compared to, say, 5,000 years ago, like medical technology, transportation technology, communication technology. The one technology that we are not more advanced in that I thought of is spiritual technology. Knowledge of how to connect with the divine, how to put together rituals. You know, like we're all here because we care about that. But this is not something where I'm like, wow, we're so far ahead of the ancient Greeks when it came to spiritual technology, you know, or the ancient Egyptians who had incredible spiritual technologies. And so I thought I would just float the concept of spiritual technology. Like, what if we were as advanced in connecting with our spirit and the spirits of our divine connection or nature spirits? What if we were as advanced in doing that as we are in like open heart surgery? You know, or what if we were as advanced in ritual as we were in space travel? Just something to be thinking about. Okay, so I'm going to start my little thing, and then at the end, I'm interested, obviously, in whether you guys think this is an interesting concept, the idea of spiritual technology, and what that might mean for us to get better at it as a society. That didn't work at all. I'm trying to share my screen here so we can, okay, that's better. Okay. All right, so I have entitled this ritual, Assemble Your Team, which maybe is perfect for Michael and hopefully for everybody else. I haven't been doing this for that long, but it's made a huge difference in my life. So I can't say I will know everything about how to do this, but it's made such a big difference for me. I wanted to share it with you guys, and I'm really eager to hear if anybody else has examples of having done this. So, you know, where we are in the universe is obviously, there are a lot of places. Like here's, you know, we're in the Milky Way galaxy alongside this star and in Monocerotis. This is a picture of an abandoned religious compound behind a hotel that my husband and I visited in the Dalles in Oregon. This is a picture of the old theater that my husband took me to on our anniversary this year in Astoria. And then this is actually the house that we're living in right now, which was built 140 years ago. And the thing is that one of the spiritual technologies I think that modern society has lost is the realization that all of these places are full of spirits. And whether you want to call these divine spirits or you want to call them natural spirits, they exist. And, you know, many cultures around the world had names for them, like brownies were household spirits or kobolds were household spirits. And I'm not an expert in the mythology of, you know, cultures around the world. So I'm just calling them house and building spirits, land spirits, and then natural feature spirits, like the spirit of the tree or the spirit of the river. So house and building spirits exist in, you know, houses and buildings and theaters and hotels. Land spirits are often the spirits from the property before the modern building was built, whatever it is. And then if you have a specific natural feature, that also has a spirit. And I think it's interesting to think of this as also on our team, that we can team up with these spirits to work together for their benefit and for our benefit. And so today's ritual is really about that. And I think it's such, I'm so excited Valerie did the little goat video because it's so perfect, right? That the dam was just in these goats' environment, but they discovered that it had the minerals that they needed to thrive, and they take advantage of that. And it's the same thing. We live in a built environment and a natural environment, and our environment is teeming with resources that we can take advantage of to survive as well. So here are a few things I've learned about teaming up with natural or building spirits in your environment. So the first thing you have to do is you have to reach out and connect to them. And the essence of connection that they seem to appreciate, first of all, gratitude. Thank you for being here. Thank you for you know, existing and taking care of this property or this piece of land. They love appreciation of the structure or the feature. This is such a beautiful house. This hotel room is so warm and cozy. Oh, this theater has such gorgeous energy, and I feel so welcome and excited to see the play here. And then any sort of positive desire. I would love to connect with you and share positive energy. You know, I'm excited to enjoy this beautiful space that you've created and taken care of. I would love to see what I could do to nurture you and how you might be able to help me in return. And I talk to them in English, since that's what I speak. And I typically speak to them in my mind, but you can totally speak to them out loud if you want to, or you can write something, or you can assemble offerings from the environment in some sort of pretty pattern and, you know, create a mandala of flower petals or you know, orange peel scraps or whatever it is you want to do. But so these are some things that they seem to really like. If you're like, thank you for being here, you're doing a great job with this environment building piece of land, and I would like to interact in a positive way. And then here's some things that I've discovered you can get out of your interaction with them. So more positive energy. They're great at putting out positive energy and just making things feel better. If you are struggling with feeling motivated to tidy or clean your space, I find that giving them an offering or asking them to motivate you, they really appreciate keeping a space clean and tidy. So they're happy, and they can't do it themselves all the time. So they're happy to help you be motivated to keep the space clean and tidy because that benefits them too. I've had really good results working with them just to feel warmth and love. If I feel alone, if I feel sad, if I feel scared, I ask them to bring me a sense of warmth and love and to heal the loneliness inside of me, and that has worked really well. They're good for feeling good in your space. So especially if you go into a space and there's like a bathroom that just feels icky, or the storage room doesn't feel like a place where you want to go, or there's a drafty corner, you can ask them to cleanse the negative energy, or to make it feel warmer, or to help you understand what they like about this place so that you can enjoy it. And then just gratitude for shelter. We all are trying to be more grateful. Well, maybe not all of us, but a lot of us are like, I need a gratitude practice, you know, because we don't want to get sucked into the negativity. And so if you're like, I love this house, I need to feel grateful for this house, or I need to feel grateful for the roof over my head, or I need to feel grateful for the blankets I have on my bed to keep me warm at night, they can definitely help you do that. Does anybody have any questions or thoughts they want to ask about before I get into ways to connect and my experience with this? Okay, I'm going to move on then. All right, so what I did this last week is I have been at the Doubletree Hilton Hotel in Portland, Oregon, as I say, visiting my sister. So I walked into this hotel room, which was a perfectly nice, you know, hotel room. And I set up this altar on the dresser in front of the television. And this was just all stuff that I brought with me. It's nothing special. It's stuff I travel with. This is a Avon perfume bottle from the 1960s. This basket wasn't there originally because my sister got it for Christmas, but then I asked her to give it to me. This is some tourmaline, black tourmaline, which I use every time I do electronic stuff. And then I had a card holder. And what I did is I connected with them and I said, thank you for being in this hotel room with me and for keeping us dry and safe with all the snow. I would love to honor you and have a great energetic connection while we're here. And I set this altar up. And then I asked, what could I do to honor you? And I pulled this tarot card. I pulled the Fool tarot card. So I decided to do something that seemed frivolous and silly. And I put my hair tie, this is the hair tie I use for my hair, my braid. I just put it and I said, this hair tie is going to be, please energize it with positive energy. And I'm going to take this positive energy with me everywhere I go. Because I was just like, I really want to have this positive experience. And this is what I asked them. Please help us feel energized, positive, and loved in this hotel. And I had a couple of really amazing experiences. At one point, I was feeling really exhausted from some stuff that had happened. And I just felt like it just enervated, like all the energy had been drained out of me. And I asked them, I'm like, can you guys please just give me warmth and positivity and help me feel better? And all of a sudden, my body felt flooded with warmth and positivity. And I was like, wow, I actually felt like in 30 seconds, I felt much better. And I heard a little voice in my head that said, you're welcome. We love to share our positive energy. And then the next day I had to leave and my husband was going to stay at the hotel room and write. And I said, can you just help my husband feel very warm and positive while he's without me today? Because I was going off shopping with my sister and my mom. And they said that they would do that. And then my husband picked me up at the end of the day and he's like, he was discouraged about something and feeling sad. And he's like, yeah, I felt great while I was at the hotel. But then the minute I left, I started feeling bad again. And I was like, oh, I guess the hotel spirits only could help him while he was at the hotel. As soon as he left, his sadness kind of came back. But anyway, we've had a wonderful experience at this hotel. And I really think it's to a big degree because I tried to build this relationship with the spirits and I left them little food offerings and I, constantly thanked them for how cozy it was. And, the spirits of places are all different. Hotel spirits, I think, are very positive because they see so many people. But, you might be at a river and not feel much of a response. And land spirits often they're not so interactive with people. I was looking at spirits at different stores in the mall and some of them were very positive and others like barely talked to me at all. So you might get a variety of responses, but I just wanted to mention this as an example of realizing that you really are surrounded by support all the time and to kind of expand our sense of what it means to assemble our team. So that's the end of my presentation. And I would love to hear if anybody has experiences connecting with land or building spirits or questions about how to do that. I did ask them for some hints, which is part of what informed this presentation. But if anybody has anything they want to say, I'd love to hear it.
Jay has his hand raised. Jay.
Hi. So I guess my question is, um, I have had experiences with like positive spirits before,
Mhm.
but I've also had experiences with like negative spirits. So I just wanted to know, like, what is your, I guess, what is your viewpoint on that? Because I feel like that's not really talked about too much.
Right. Actually, I was gonna mention this if nobody asked. So I'm glad that you brought it up because I think this is really important. And I think this is part of my point about spiritual technology, is that this is knowledge that you need if you want to work with spirits at all, is what happens if I feel like the spirits aren't so positive for me. So, and I actually asked the spirits at the hotel room this to see what they would say, because I'm like, might as well get some varied opinions on it. So I've had plenty of experience with negative spirits myself. And what my spirit guides have helped me understand is that I am always sovereign to ask that those negative spirits leave or not interact with me if, if that's not what I want to experience. Now, when I say always, is it possible that you go into some like horribly haunted house or the bottom of a coal mine where there was a tragedy and there are ghosts? I mean, that could be. So, but what I'm talking about is the kind of thing that you encounter in a house or in a hotel room or at a mall, where I feel like, there may be spirits that are not so positive there, but it's not like a dangerous sort of situation because everybody else is at the mall and the hotel's full of people and presumably other people have lived in this house. So I'm not really talking about like the ghosts of the vengeful dead, which you can end up with, because I'm not an expert in any of that.
Yeah.
But what I'm talking about is the positive spirits that are keeping up the property. And what they said to me is that if you encounter a spirit that seems like a property or land spirit, not a vengeful ghost from a horrible serial killer, right? But like a property or land spirit that's not happy, you can ask, what can I do to make this a better environment or a relationship with you? And it is possible sometimes that there are things that have gone wrong or offerings that could be made, or maybe some cleansing is needed. And you can ask the positive house spirits to help you in dealing with the negative house or land spirit as well. I had a couple of those in the last place I lived. They were just icky cold spots. And I had to reach out to them and try to figure out what the issue was and do some rituals. But I would say, as far as like feeling worried, like bad things are going to happen to me from reaching out to spirits, then this is a relatively safe population to work with. And you can always use the positive energy to work through any negative energy that you encounter.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Good question. Because there is a lot of fear around that. I mean, little kids are afraid to learn to swim, but because learning to swim is valuable, you work through the fear, you get better techniques, you have training and skills, and then you're like, actually, wow, this is really a useful thing. And then you grow less afraid as you have more experience. Anybody else have any comments or questions? Okay. All right. So Valerie, are you up for working on your ritual?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, totally.
Oh my goodness. It has been a journey, y'all. Hopefully I can keep this connection. I had to switch to my phone. Give me just one moment because I want to make sure that Robin, are you still showing yourself as co-host? And I'm sorry for the difficulties, group.
No, I am not.
Okay, because I got to make sure you are in case I get bumped off.
Oh, I want to say one more thing about this working with house and land spirits, which is I was perennially feeling like I didn't belong on this planet. I had this sense of not feeling like this place was a safe home for me. And working with the house and land spirits where I live now has almost completely fixed that. Yeah, it's been hugely transformative. And suddenly now I really feel like this is the right spot for me. So that's why I mentioned it, because it could make a big difference. And Valerie, now I show myself as co-host.
Sure, can you guys still hear me?
Yep, we can.
All right. I'm going to try, y'all. I do apologize for the technical difficulties. Speaking of technology, spiritual technology. All right. So my ritual is pretty simple and it ties right in with setting New Year's resolution. You can think of it as a resolution for your new year or just setting intentions for this new moon. If you're going with the full year, which I would strongly suggest you do, what I would like you to do is as you set these intentions is think
Valerie, we lost you again. Hello? Hello?
did I cut out?
Yep, now you're back though.
Okay, where did y'all lose me?
You said, as you're thinking of setting these intentions, whether it's for the new moon or for the entire year, and I would really recommend the entire year.
Right.
And
So
then we lost you after that.
I would suggest you write them down and set these intentions out under the new moon to pull these energies in. And then throughout the year, every time the moon is in Capricorn, you can reinforce these intentions, revisit your New Year's resolution, pull those energies back in again to help you continue to go after your intentions, your goals. So with that being said, hopefully, because this is a new moon, everyone pretty much has a good idea of what they would like to set for their intentions. And if you've written those down, here's some things that I would like you to concentrate on as far as pulling them in. So this ritual is all about setting intention specifically for the year. And so in order to pull in the moon energy, I want you to ask yourself with these intentions, how will you feel? The moon is all about our feelings. How will you feel when you reach this goal? How does success feel to you? And if you can think about another time in your life when you were successful or another time in your life when you reached a goal, this will help you. Feelings are so, so important to manifestations and setting intentions and having those intentions actually come to fruition. So make sure you're able to capture the feeling of what it will feel like. Why do you want this goal? What is it going to feel like when you achieve this goal? So that's how we're going to pull in the moon energy as we set the intention. And then going into Capricorn energy, I have 3 questions that you can ask yourself or journal about in regards to your intention. The first one is, what are my divine gifts that will help me achieve this goal? So Capricorn's key statement or key phrase is I use or I utilize. We're going to take that and think about how are we using our divine gifts? Just like that goat that was scaling that wall, he had divine gifts that were helping him reach that goal. So ask yourself, what are your divine gifts? The second question I want you to ask yourself or journal about in regards to your intentions, can I break this into smaller steps? So we talked about just taking the next step in front of you. How can you break this goal into smaller steps? And then as you accomplish each one of those smaller steps, make sure you celebrate. Celebrating those steps as small successes is going to keep you going, but it's also going to reinforce to your brain that you are successful as you go along the way. And then the third question that I want you to ask yourself about these intentions, what will I do? And this one is a good one because we're human and a lot of times this happens, especially with New Year's resolutions. What will I do if I lose sight of my goals? What am I going to do if it just doesn't seem like it's happening? And here I have 3 little bullet points as suggestions as what you can do. And this again is going to pull in that Capricorn energy. So Capricorn is an earth sign. So the first thing you can do is stop panicking, stop beating up on yourself, and ground yourself. Use that Capricorn earth energy to really ground yourself, to refocus on what it is you say you want, why you say you want it. And then what can you do if you lose sight? You can reconfirm and embrace that goat-like determination. Picture yourself like that goat that just keeps going, even in adverse situations, scaling a vertical wall, doing the impossible. Pull in those energies from Capricorn. The last thing, which lines up with what Robin spoke about, is look for your helpers. If you lose sight of your goal, look for your helpers. Those could be spiritual helpers. Those could be helpers in physical, people who are good at whatever it is you're trying to do. But when you look at looking for a helper, I want you to envision that mother goat and that baby goat. Try to find someone else who's walked the path before. Trying to find someone, it doesn't have to be the goat that's all the way at the top that's already licking the salt. It just has to be somebody who's just a couple of steps in front of you on the path, who can show you where to put your foot next. So that's something I want you all to think about as you go after these goals, because we all tend to lose our way, especially when we set big yearly goals. So break it down into small steps. See if you can focus on the next step in front of you. And if you can't find that next step, look for someone who's walked the path who can show you where that next step is. So that's what I have as far as the ritual. I do want to try, I'm gonna try, y'all, to get my video going. Yay! Can y'all see me? Good, awesome, okay. The last thing I wanna show you is the journal that I talked about, which I think is going to help you stay focused throughout the month of January, if this is your jam. And I'm just going to show you, it's a downloadable and printable, so you'll download it and print yourself. Let me go back. These journals that I'm creating, I'm going to create them on a month-to-month basis. Every month is going to be different. January's, I only had 2 weeks from thinking about, I think I'll make a journal, which was on the full moon, to producing this journal. I had 2 weeks to do it. So it's very abbreviated, short, downloadable journal. In the future, hopefully these will be actual journals that you can purchase and have shipped to you to receive in time for the month ahead. But for now, it's a downloadable version and it's very abbreviated. Look for more robust journals in the future. With that being said, I'm going to try to show you a couple. I'm on my phone, so I'm going to try to show you a couple of pictures of a couple of the pages so you can see what the journal is. It's going to have this page, which is the key, which lets you know all of the moon phases, all the astrological signs, and the element signs, which are going to come into play in the journal. I have a quick, y'all, I illustrated. I have a quick reference guide that gives you an overview of the moon phases and what energies each one of those phases is. For instance, the waxing crescent is when you would set your intentions. Even though we say it's new moon is planning, waxing crescent is setting intentions, and it goes all the way around the circle to tell you what each phase is. And then there's a more in-depth look at each one of the phases. All of that is at the beginning of the journal. We have this, y'all are familiar with this. This is the free download for today's journal, but it has that in there as well. So you can journal about the new moon and the full moon. And then this is the actual calendar portion. Now I call it a journal or a planner because you can use this to journal each day, how you're feeling, what you're thinking in that space. Or you can use it as a planner, just writing what's going up. But what I want you to notice, if I can get it in frame while I'm talking, is that it gives you the date, but over to the side, it tells you what phase the moon is in, what sign the moon is in, and the earth, or I'm sorry, and the element that it's in, so that you can work with those energies. If you're like, man, I don't know what's wrong, I'm just feeling like I just can't get a grip on anything. And then you look down at the calendar and you see that you're in an air sign. Well, maybe that's why you're feeling a little flighty and a little all in your head and you can't really ground yourself. Other times you might be like, man, I'm just not feeling I'm feeling real uninspired and I don't know what's going on. And you look down and you're like, oh, we're in an earth sign. We're really grounded. Okay, maybe I need to do some planning and not look for inspiration. So this is just a way to begin to get yourself in tune with the moon. The links for purchasing that are on my computer and I'm on my phone. I'm going to switch back to my computer now that I'm done talking and try to drop those links in chat. If I'm unable to get that all pulled up in time, you can go to goddesswithanattitude.com. That's my website /shop and look for the moon journal. It's only $10. And because you guys are so special and came to my event, I told you y'all gonna get 50% off. So it's only $5 to y'all. So it's a cool way to keep track of the moon and its phases. If you're interested, the coupon code that you will need to use is JANMOON 50. So January Moon 50. JANMOON 50. And it's in my shop. And I think that's all I have for you. I do want to give one more shout out to Robin and her amazing astrological readings. And also let you know that I am doing year ahead readings if you're looking for how to, I do tarot, oracle, intuitive readings, and I'm also doing house sign readings, which is different than what Robin does. But anyway, I feel like I'm babbling because I feel so lost because I'm not on my computer. But anyway, year ahead readings are also available, and you can find that information on my website as well. I'm going to turn it back over to Robin and try to jump back on my computer.
So can I just ask a quick question? Is the coupon case sensitive?
It's all capital. I don't think it's case sensitive, but go ahead and type it in all caps.
Okay, I just type that into the chat for everybody there.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I think that sounds amazing. And that moon journal looks really awesome. I've never done a moon journal before, but I'm like, yeah, that could be cool. That could be a fun thing to try. And Valerie's readings are amazing also, by the way. She did one for me recently and brought through some information on my spirit, from my spirit guides about the need to reparent myself, which I then put into practice by taking some childhood cookie recipes and changing them to fit my new diet and then making them my own. So now it's not my mother's childhood cookie recipes anymore. They're my childhood cookie recipes. So, and that was really transformative for me. So I highly recommend Valerie's readings, and year ahead readings are really great. Oh yeah, and she's got some links in the chat, but I wanted to address what Joyce said, if I can. Joyce put in the chat, my goals somehow never manifest. I have to simply let matters go with the flow. I'm not sure why this always happens. So, you know, obviously you can look at your astrology chart and talk more about goal setting, but I have learned a few things that I thought I would just mention about this. So when this happens, often what is happening is that the quote unquote goals we are setting are not actually aligned with what our deep self truly wants. So like I set a goal at one point to make a bunch of earrings and sell them in a local store. And that has gone nowhere. I've tried like 3 or 4 times. And finally my spirit guides were like, do you really want that? And I was like, yes, I want to make money by selling my earrings in a local store. And they were like, but you put a lot of effort into it and you don't make very much money. Is that really going to meet your financial goals? And I'm like, I want to sell my jewelry in a local store and I want to make money. You know, it was one of these things where it was like, I thought I wanted that. And part of me wanted that, but they were like, honestly, we think that that's going to get you, if it works, you're going to be like, oh, now I have to make more jewelry. And there's nothing wrong with making jewelry, but they're looking at me and thinking that you want to do something that's more like, let's transform society to accept a variety of spiritual beliefs and not like feel like, well, now I have to spend 10 hours making earrings because the last one sold. And so now I'm making it. So that's one thing is, are you setting sort of like concrete, mundane, and I don't want to say this the wrong way, but like play it safe or make yourself more comfortable goals that in your deep self is like, I'm just not enthused. That's not the amazing future I envisioned for myself. You know, that's the like pay the mortgage this month, but really it's going to lead me down a path. That's not the amazing and wonderful life I want to manifest. And what I've learned about things like manifestation and magic and ritual is that it really works best when your inner self or is also ascending at the same level as your use of the technologies or manifesting or rituals. In other words, if you're using these great manifesting techniques, but you're still trying to manifest things that the old you thought were necessary for fitting into modern society, the disjunction won't happen. So you've got to really look at yourself and being like, okay, deep inside of me, what are my gifts? What is my true desire? What is my deep spiritual path? And work on manifesting those sorts of goals. And the other thing is that you may be trying to manifest things in a way that is not your gift. Like, I am great. I'm amazing at manifesting random stuff at Goodwill. Like, I wanted a teal suede blazer at one point in my size, and I walked into Goodwill and I found it. I've got zillions of stories. But I am terrible at manifesting anything when it comes to my career. I have Neptune in my career house. That's the unknown planet. My career, it just develops organically. So there may be some other areas where you need to go with the flow, but there may be other things that you're better at manifesting, you may be better at manifesting healing, or you may be good at manifesting wisdom, or you may be good at manifesting uncovering other people's trauma and giving them amazing solutions to help them. So I think it's important not to get stuck in the whole, well, a goal is a job, or a goal is a car, or a goal is a relationship. Those are all great goals, and some people rock at manifesting them. But there's a much wider range of goals out there, and you just may not be in your goal sweet spot at this point. Does any of that resonate with you, Joyce, or anybody else who wants to talk about that?
I'm sorry I wasn't available when I had my my icon on. I'm sorry to be a little like a downer. My mother told me she has cancer cells.
Oh,
So
wow.
that's, yeah, so I'm like in another world right now.
Yeah, I totally understand that. And I don't think you need to apologize for being a downer, because we're here to support each other wherever we may be in the moment. Would it be okay with you if we sent some positive energy to your mom, as is comfortable for us as individuals?
Yes, that would be great. Thank you so much, Robin.
Send some positive energy to you and to her. It's a challenging time. My mother had cancer, like 15 years ago, I think. And it was a big challenge for all of us. She came through it, and she's downstairs plotting data for her cosmic galactic survey at the moment. But it's a challenging moment.
Thank you for coming to be with
Thank
us,
you, Robin.
Joyce. That's so important to be in community when you're having those struggles and those challenges. I'm so glad that you decided to come with us this evening and be with us this evening so that we could try to uplift each other.
Yeah.
Thank you, Valerie. Thank you, Robin.
Yeah, means a lot.
All
Anybody
right.
else? Any thoughts or contributions?
Nothing.
Okay.
Okay, well, I'm going to let you know, Robin has told you that we're going to have some special events coming up in January, maybe February. I don't know. January was what we're hoping for, shooting for. We'll see. But they're really super exciting. It's all linked to how you can find gifts in your chart, how you can support yourself through your chart. So be on the lookout for those. As far as what's coming up this week, we have our New Year's Eve card pull that's going to give you a little bit of insight into the year ahead. Last year, it was so much fun, and I plan on having a better connection and having a lot of fun this year as well. It's going to be a big crowd. I do those speed read style, which means everyone will get a card reading. It'll be one card, and I'll give you my first intuitive hit, and then we'll move on to the next person. But there's still a lot of information there. There's still a lot of information that's going to come through from Spirit for you. So I hope to see you at the New Year's Eve. Even if you're not into tarot readings, it's still a lot of fun just seeing everyone come together and seeing what everyone else gets and what kind of cards come up. After that, we have over on the AZ website, which I partner with regularly on New Year's Day. We're doing a goal setting, intention setting, manifestation type of event. And I'm doing that with Aries. So that's not on Tarot Unicorns and Coffee. I'm going to try to get it cross-posted on Tarot Unicorns and Coffee for those of you that are not on Awkwardly Zen site. But that's happening on New Year's Eve and then New Year's Day. And then, of course, the next full moon celebration is already on the calendar. I forgot what day it was, but it's already in the calendar. So be sure to sign up for that. And we hope to see you at the next events, or at the very least at our next moon celebration. Robin, did you have anything else you wanted to add?
Well, I was going to say we got a series coming up, which is about troubleshooting your natal chart and how to work with any weak spots or areas that need assisted energy, which is going to start with astrology and branch out into crystals and rituals and planetary charity and meditation. And so we're going to start that in the new year, and it's going to be an ongoing series. We have, I think, 3 or 4 planned out. And we're also going to do, hopefully in either January or February, a little thing on the 4 mistakes that beginning astrologers tend to make when they're learning to read for themselves. that I wanted to say nobody talks about. Maybe somebody is talking about them, but I have yet to see anybody talk about these mistakes. They're not things like focusing on your sun and moon, which are kind of obvious mistakes. And I think that honestly, to be frank, even advanced astrologers can make these mistakes, because I've found this even in astrologers who've had 30 or 40 years of experience, who I really respect, but in my mind, they're still making these mistakes when I listen to their videos or read their blog posts. So I'm hoping that that will be exciting for you. And I have a whole new presentation style I'm going to try out, inspired by yet another one of my brother-in-law's business books. So this is a brand new slide style for me, which I think is going to be super fun. These are all mistakes, by the way, that I have made personally. So I will talk about my own mistakes.
That's how we learn.
Other people who I can see have made the mistakes as well. So, but it's all designed to help liberate you in terms of not feeling scared or afraid or constrained by old ways of looking at astrology or other spiritual technologies. Because I really think, in honor of MLK, liberation starts in the mind of the oppressed. That's what my spirit guides told me. So we're going to work on freeing ourselves from old ways of doing things and becoming excited about new ways.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much, everyone.
Happy New Year.